Imagine standing proudly at your son's wedding, a day you've dreamed of for years. Then, just moments before he says "I do," you uncover a secret so devastating you have no choice but to stop everything. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Hazel. Grab your coffee, because today we have a truly unbelievable story of a mother's intuition. Our storyteller today is Elara, a woman who absolutely adored her son, Kaelen. Kaelen was Elara's only child, and she had poured her heart and soul into raising him. He was a kind, considerate young man, always putting others first, and very dedicated to his family. So when Kaelen told her he had found the love of his life, Elara was overjoyed for him. His fiancée was named Briony, and at first glance she seemed like an absolute dream. Briony was beautiful, charming, and appeared to be deeply in love with Kaelen. She worked in a high-profile corporate job, always dressed impeccably, and seemed to have it all together. Elara wanted to love Briony, she really did. Kaelen was so happy, and that was all that mattered. But almost from their very first meeting, Elara felt a tiny, almost imperceptible prickle of unease. It was nothing she could put her finger on, just a small voice in the back of her mind whispering. Briony was perhaps a little too perfect, a little too polished, almost like a character in a play. She always had the right thing to say, the perfect compliment, and her smiles seemed practiced. Elara tried to brush it off. Maybe she was just being an overprotective mother, scrutinizing Kaelen's choice too much. She told herself that every mother feels a little apprehension when their child finds a partner. Kaelen, however, was completely smitten. He saw no flaws, only the wonderful woman he was planning to marry. They had been together for about 2 years when Kaelen proposed, and Briony eagerly accepted. Wedding planning began almost immediately, and Briony took charge with impressive efficiency. Elara offered to help, wanting to be involved in her son's big day, but Briony politely declined most of her suggestions. Briony insisted on handling everything herself, from the venue to the catering to the guest list. Elara found herself increasingly sidelined, her input rarely sought and often dismissed. It wasn't just Elara. Kaelen's close friends also started to notice a shift in Briony's demeanour. She became more controlling, more demanding, especially as the wedding day approached. Kaelen, ever the peacemaker, tried to mediate, but he also seemed a little overwhelmed by Briony's intensity. One particular incident really stood out to Elara, planting a seed of deep suspicion. Briony was discussing their prenuptial agreement with Kaelen, something Elara overheard by accident. Elara knew Kaelen was financially comfortable, having inherited a substantial sum from his late father. His father had been a very successful investor, and Kaelen was set up for life. Briony, however, was pushing for an extremely unbalanced prenup, far more favourable to her. She was insisting on clauses that would give her a significant portion of Kaelen's inherited assets. Elara was shocked. It seemed so out of character for the loving, selfless woman Briony pretended to be. Kaelen, bless his trusting heart, just wanted to make Briony happy and was willing to agree to almost anything. Elara gently tried to talk to Kaelen, suggesting he get independent legal advice on the prenup. But Kaelen, blinded by love, brushed off her concerns, insisting Briony was just being cautious. The wedding day finally arrived, a beautiful, sunny afternoon, perfect for a garden ceremony. Elara was getting ready, her heart a mix of joy for Kaelen and lingering apprehension about Briony. She was helping the flower girl, her niece Lyra, adjust her little dress, when she heard a commotion downstairs. It sounded like a hushed, urgent conversation, and Briony's voice was distinctly sharp and cold. Curious, and perhaps a little worried, Elara quietly moved closer to the closed door. She heard Briony speaking to someone, not Kaelen, and the tone was completely different from her usual sweetness. Briony was demanding something, her voice laced with an almost aggressive entitlement. "I need that proof," Briony hissed. "The wedding is in an hour, and I won't lose this fortune." Elara's blood ran cold. Fortune? What fortune was Briony talking about, beyond Kaelen's inheritance? Elara pressed her ear closer, trying to decipher more of the hushed, urgent conversation. Briony's voice was lower now, almost a whisper, but still sharp with expectation. "He promised me everything," Briony insisted, "and I have the leverage to make sure he pays up." Elara felt a cold dread creeping through her veins. Who was he, and what leverage? Then she heard another voice, a man's, low and slightly muffled, but distinctly not Kaelen's. He sounded hesitant, almost nervous, like he was caught in a difficult situation. "Briony, you know the agreement," the man said. "The funds are tied to the marriage." "Precisely," Briony snapped, "and I need solid proof of his father's will to seal the deal." This revelation confronted Elara like a sudden, icy wave. Kaelen's father's will? Kaelen's father, Silas, had passed away years ago, leaving a modest inheritance to Kaelen. But there was also a trust, a significant one, established for Kaelen to access upon his marriage. Silas had wanted to ensure Kaelen was settled and stable before he received the larger sum. Elara had always assumed Briony knew about the trust, but not that she was actively manipulating for it. The man's voice returned, sounding increasingly uncomfortable. "The papers are with the lawyer, not me." "Then get them," Briony commanded, her voice rising in impatience. "I need to see them before I walk down that aisle." Elara's mind raced. This wasn't about love, it was a calculated financial transaction. Briony wasn't marrying Kaelen for who he was, but for what his deceased father had left him. Elara realized the, quote, proof Briony needed was probably confirmation of the exact value of that trust. The man, still unnamed, sounded increasingly desperate to disengage from Briony's demands. "I told you, it's all handled by the estate lawyer," he repeated, clearly trying to distance himself. "You are part of this, Gideon," Briony growled, using a name Elara had never heard. "You helped me get this far, and you're not backing out now. I want my payment." Gideon. Elara racked her brain, but the name didn't ring any bells within Kaelen's social circle. It suddenly clicked. Gideon was the name of Silas's former financial advisor, a man Elara hadn't seen in years. He was also the executor of Silas's trust, the one who had released the funds upon Kaelen's marriage. Briony was colluding with Gideon, the very person meant to protect Kaelen's inheritance. A wave of righteous fury washed over Elara. Her son was about to be completely exploited. She imagined Kaelen standing at the altar, oblivious to the web of deceit surrounding him. Briony was not just a gold digger, she was a cunning manipulator, using Kaelen as a means to an end. Elara knew she couldn't let this wedding proceed, not like this, not under these circumstances. She had to act, and she had to act fast, before Kaelen made the biggest mistake of his life. Taking a deep breath, Elara pushed away from the door, her heart pounding with resolve. Her gentle demeanour had vanished, replaced by a steely determination only a mother could possess. She walked quickly back towards the main hall, scanning for Kaelen, her son. The guests were already starting to fill the chairs, a buzz of anticipation filling the air. Kaelen stood at the front, looking handsome and slightly nervous, but radiating happiness. Elara felt a pang of sadness for the joy that was about to be shattered. But it was a necessary pain, a difficult truth that Kaelen deserved to know. She saw him catch her eye, offering a reassuring smile, not knowing what she had just uncovered. Elara nodded back, feigning composure, but her mind was already formulating a plan. She couldn't make a scene directly in front of all the guests just yet. First, she needed to confront Briony, to see her facade crumble firsthand. And then she needed to tell Kaelen the devastating truth, gently but firmly. This was not going to be the joyful day everyone had envisioned, not anymore. It was going to be a day of reckoning, a painful but essential intervention. The mother, Elara, moved with a quiet determination through the bustling venue. She spotted Briony in a side room, adjusting her veil, a picture of serene beauty. Elara's heart ached, knowing the deception hidden beneath that flawless exterior. She approached Briony, her voice low but firm, asking for a private word. Briony turned, a radiant smile on her face, completely unaware of the storm brewing. "Everything is perfect, Elara," Briony chirped. "I'm so excited to finally be Kaelen's wife." Elara took a deep breath, clutching her phone, the evidence heavy in her hand. "Briony," she began, "I know about Gideon. I know about your secret relationship." The colour drained from Briony's face, her carefully constructed composure instantly shattering. Her eyes darted around the room, fear and anger flashing in their depths. "What are you talking about?" Briony stammered, attempting a weak denial. "That's ridiculous." "Don't bother," Elara interrupted, her voice unwavering. "I have proof, Briony." She held up her phone, displaying the damning messages and photos. Briony stared at the screen, her mouth agape, utterly exposed and defeated. "You can't do this," Briony hissed, her eyes narrowing. "You'll ruin everything for Kaelen." Elara shook her head, a profound sadness mixing with her resolve. "You already ruined everything, Briony," she stated, "by betraying his trust. There was no turning back now. The truth had to come out, no matter the cost." Elara left Briony stunned and speechless, making her way towards her son. Kaelen was greeting guests, a joyful glow about him, completely oblivious. She pulled him gently aside, away from the chatter, her heart heavy. "Kaelen, my dear," she started, her voice soft. "I need to tell you something very important." He looked at her, sensing the gravity in her tone, his smile fading. "Mom, what's wrong?" he asked, a flicker of concern crossing his face. "This is incredibly difficult to say," Elara confessed, her eyes filled with sorrow. "That you deserve to know the truth before you make a lifelong commitment," she explained as gently as possible, about Briony's secret relationship with Gideon. She mentioned the details, the consistent deception, the depth of the betrayal. Kaelen's face went blank, then a look of profound shock spread across it. "No," he whispered, shaking his head. "That's not possible. Briony wouldn't." He looked at his mother, searching for any sign that this was a terrible mistake. But Elara's expression was one of unwavering sadness, confirming his worst fears. "Are you certain, Mom?" he pleaded, his voice cracking with disbelief. Elara nodded slowly, then showed him the messages, the photos. She explained how she had discovered them, the careful planning Briony had used. Every word, every image, chipped away at Kaelen's carefully constructed world. The undeniable evidence laid bare the painful reality of the deception. Kaelen stared at the phone, his eyes glazed over, his dreams crumbling before him. The joy, the excitement, the love he felt for Briony, all twisted into ash. A single tear tracked down his cheek, then another, silent and agonizing. His heart was breaking, not just from the betrayal but from the lost future. He took a shaky breath, the weight of the revelation crushing him. Then, a quiet resolve settled over his grief-stricken face. He knew what he had to do, no matter how excruciatingly painful it would be. This wedding, this union, simply could not proceed. Gideon walked into the living room, where his mother, our storyteller, was waiting. He looked at her with a depth of pain she'd rarely seen in his eyes. "Mom," he began, his voice barely a whisper, "I know the truth about Calliope." His mother's heart ached for him, but a wave of relief washed over her too. She embraced him tightly, knowing that a difficult conversation was ahead. They talked for hours, Gideon pouring out his heartbreak, and his mother listening. They discussed how to proceed, what action to take, and the immense consequences. The decision was agonizing, but ultimately, they knew what had to be done. The wedding day dawned bright and beautiful, a stark contrast to their heavy hearts. Guests gathered, flowers bloomed, and the air buzzed with excited chatter. Calliope, radiant in her gown, walked down the aisle, completely oblivious. Gideon stood at the altar, his face a mask of practiced calm, his heart a storm. His mother watched from the front row, clutching her purse, her resolve firm. The officiant began the ceremony, the usual promises and blessings. Everything seemed perfect, a fairy tale moment about to unfold. But Gideon's mother knew the dark secret lurking beneath the surface. As the officiant reached the "speak now or forever hold your peace" part, she took a breath. Her hand trembled slightly, but her gaze met Gideon's, and he gave a subtle nod. "I object," she called out, her voice clear and strong, cutting through the silence. A collective gasp rippled through the stunned wedding guests. Calliope froze, turning slowly, her beautiful smile faltering. Gideon's mother stepped forward, her eyes fixed on Calliope. "This marriage cannot happen," she stated, her voice unwavering. "Calliope has been having a secret relationship with another man for months." The words hung in the air, a devastating truth unleashed upon the joyful ceremony. Calliope's face paled, her eyes darting between Gideon and his mother. Gideon stepped forward, his own voice now firm. "It's true, Calliope. I know about Silas," he added, his gaze piercing through her. The bride's composure shattered, tears welling in her eyes, but not of remorse. She looked around, trapped, exposed, her deception laid bare for all to see. A murmur of disbelief and shock spread through the congregation. Some guests gasped, others whispered, the festive atmosphere utterly destroyed. Calliope stammered, trying to deny it, but her words were weak and unconvincing. Gideon's mother continued, explaining the evidence, the messages, the hidden meetings. She spoke not with anger, but with a sorrowful conviction, protecting her son. The officiant, bewildered, closed his book, unsure how to proceed. Gideon walked off the altar, leaving Calliope standing alone, humiliated. His mother followed, placing a comforting hand on his arm, her mission complete. The wedding was over, spectacularly and painfully undone. Calliope's family rushed to her side, a mixture of anger and embarrassment on their faces. The guests slowly began to disperse. The dream of a perfect day shattered. It was a dramatic, heartbreaking end to what should have been a beautiful beginning. But sometimes, Hazel says, the truth must prevail, no matter the cost. Gideon was heartbroken, yes, but he was also free from a life of deception. His mother had saved him from a profound and lasting betrayal. It was a painful intervention, but a necessary one, showing the fierce, protective love only a mother can possess. Gideon eventually found peace, healing from the heartbreak and building a life founded on honesty. This story just proves that sometimes a little bit of dramatic truth can save someone from a lifetime of lies. What do you think, Hazel's Army? Was Gideon's mother justified in stopping the wedding, or did she go too far? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more cozy Reddit drama with a side of coffee. See you next time.